97% of people live in the wrong place. Everyone has a birth map. About morality as it arises from as you see it. There's an old saying, what's right for me, is right for me, what's right for you is right for you. I'm not sure that really says what I want to say, but what's right for one moment may not be right for the next moment. Live your life in a mess. You create your own mess while becoming that kind of messy person, failing. Or you become a noble person, a happy person. And as a result of listening to your impulse and not giving in to the anti-conscience pressures. See? Now, are there any questions that you would like to ask? Jim said that genius is simply nothing more than observing in an unhabitual way. Observing life without habit. All the bad mental entanglements, emotional prejudices we have. If you could see life with the clarity of a little child, then you wouldn't have any problems. And you don't. You see through your prejudiced eyes. You see through clouded vision. You see through a mist of excuses and hostilities and prejudices and misinformation, sea of lies. My son was saying he went to the Price Club, you know where that is, and he said to friends who he's with, "Well, I won't be long, 20 minutes." So he was about 30 minutes, and there was a young lady with him, accompanying him. And when he came back, he says to the friend who asked where he was, he says, "Oh, well, I couldn't get served." But they also walked around a little bit, you see. And the girl that was with my son, young lady that was with my son, never said anything. She says, "Yes, we couldn't get served." But they both lied, didn't they? A little bit. They lied just a little bit. And he observed himself that if you could be supported in 1% of all the lies that are in your life, just that 1%, you're actually reinforcing 100%. If you have anybody agree with you in the smallest, littlest thing, if you can convince somebody that that you're generous, or that you're thoughtful, if you can convince anybody of anything, whatever ego value it has, they see you in a certain way which you've contrived, make them do. Talking about morality as it arises from as you see it.
And when we spin everything, we have the impression of something moving along. But I want you to realize that nothing really moves, because each rod only moves up and down. What makes it real is when we place something in one of the valleys of the wave, then something real moves. You can do this on the other one. If you observe an individual rod, like this one, you will see that it is just going up and down. There is no horizontal movement at all. Only the ball is something real moving from one side to the other. And when we spin everything, we have the impression of something moving along.
What's the next closest animal to humans in intelligence? Chimpanzees, chimps. And what's the DNA difference? 2% tops? Only a 2% difference in DNA. And the chimp is stacking boxes, but we have poetry and music and the Hubble telescope. Now consider some other species, 2% beyond us, just as we are 2% beyond the chimp. What would we look like to them? They would roll the smartest human for Stephen Hawking, roll him forward and say, this one is slightly smarter than the rest because he can do astrophysics calculations in his head, like little Timmy over here who just came back from preschool. Alien Timmy. Oh, look, you just composed your 12th sonnet. That's beautiful. Oh, you just re-derived the fundamental principles of calculus. Let's put it on the refrigerator door. Yes, that's what they're talking toddlers would be doing, because our toddlers do what the smartest chimps do. If aliens came and they had only that much more intelligence than us, they could enslave the entire Earth and we wouldn't even know it. Maybe that has already happened. What's the next closest animal to humans in intelligence? I was sitting next to the richest man in Canada. They were going to test the alien craft that night.
I have seen. Wait, so you're investigating potential malfeasance around these fields?
Afghanistan used to be a net food exporter. And as soon as the US takes over, they're producing 93% of the world's heroin.
That's right.
I'd like to know how the fuck that happened.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah. Nobody wanted to tell me. So I get to Bagram Air Base and I said, I'm going to need a helicopter to Lashkar Gah. They were like, oh, can't do it. Too dangerous. I was like, no, we're doing it like in the next hour. You have to be a dick with these people sometimes, right? Because they think that they can just pacify you until it's time to leave. And I'm like, no, I outrank you. I'm telling you, get a pilot and fly me to Lashkar Gah. So we get down there. And it's a god awful place. But man, I'm telling you, as far as your eye can see, all there is poppy. All of it is poppy. So I said, I want to talk to a poppy farmer. They were like, are you nuts? And I said, no, I'm serious. I want to talk to a poppy farmer. So we go out to the poppy fields. We see this guy cultivating his poppy. So I go up to him and I said, I got to ask you a question, which was incredibly naive. I said, why don't you grow crops that have 2 growing seasons instead of poppy? You could grow tomatoes or onions or pomegranates. He goes like this. He goes, the Americans told me in 2001, if I told them where the Arabs were, I could grow all the poppy I wanted. I go, what Americans told you could grow poppy? My military handler's like, we got to go. The bogey's in the area. We got to go. And he physically pulls me into the Jeep and takes me back to the helicopter.
Wait, so you're investigating potential malfeasance around these fields?
Hey, bro, what's good? How you feeling? Just want to holler at you real quick. Hey, man, don't be afraid to fix things, G. Don't be afraid to.
All right. Very simple technique for any one of you in any circumstance where you start feeling that incompatible vibration is, first and foremost, of course, be honest within your own self-investigation and allow yourself to realize the difference between whether it is truly something that is not representative of who you are, truly something that is not representative of your excitement, or whether it is simply your belief system making it look that way. As soon as you clear out with yourself whether something really is or isn't reflective of who you prefer to be, then you can move forward. But the idea is to ask yourself a question in one of 2 ways. Sometimes the first way will work for some of you. Sometimes the second way will work for different people. The first way is when you feel that, when you find yourself in that moment, what would I have to believe is true about myself in this situation to feel, think, behave, or experience what I am feeling, thinking, behaving, or experiencing? Because all experiences, all behaviors, all thoughts, and all emotions come from what you believe to be true first. That's the blueprint. The emotions are the builders of the reality. The thoughts are the building materials. The behaviors are the way in which the builders are building.
They were going to.
Look up how old African people are, and then look up how old Europeans are. Let's do that. This is Google. It's not. Google wasn't made by a black person, so no one can say shit to us. So Africans are around 7 million years old. We're 7 million years old, right? Happy birthday, African. How old are Europeans? The genetic lineage of Europe is seriously transformed about 4,500 years old. Are you kidding me? Okay, you're 4,500 years old, and we 7 million. Well, African civilization was 3150 BC. I think this is a more complicated question. So the oldest civilization is from southern Africa, the San people from southern. The San people that look Asian, yes. The San people, that's where everybody's traced from. Look up how old African people are, and then look up how.
You're helping us to wake up inside the dream
Yes,
and realize that we are already dreaming, and that the life of our dreams doesn't linger somewhere outside right now.
actually, more than that. I am transmitting to you the ideas that allow you to understand you are the dream that you're dreaming. Yes, you see the difference? It's not just waking up in a dream, not just that you are dreaming, it's that you actually are the dream that you are dreaming. Does that help? Or does it confuse you even more? You are all that is. There is nothing else. Therefore, you are the dream and the dreamer. Yes? It's the first reflection. You see, there is the one. The one contains everything except an experience of itself. It is homogeneous. It is without time, space, awareness, or any experience. It is just the one. However, within the one, because it contains everything, is also the concept of the other. And as soon as the one had the concept of the other, it became all that is, the first reflection, aware of itself. But that takes a sense or a concept of reflection or otherness to be aware of yourself, because you have to have something to compare yourself to. So as soon as the one, in a sense, became aware of itself, it became all that is. There is nothing else. Everything is made of all that is. Thus, you are all that is. And any experience you have, any dream you are having, is being had by you, from you, about you, in you, made of you, because there is nothing else from which to create anything. There is only you. So everything you experience is made of you, just as everything in creation is made of all that is, because there is nothing else to make anything from.
You're helping us to wake up inside the dream
Yes,
and realize that we are already dreaming, and that the life of our dreams doesn't linger somewhere outside right now.
actually, more than that. I am transmitting to you the ideas that allow you to understand you are the dream.
Listen to this. The book of Adam and Eve. In this book, it talks about Adam.
It's a woman who found old letters in her attic. So I got this letter early days of the planetarium before we rebuilt the place. I'm going through my voicemails. One of them says, "Dear Dr. Tyson, I found a letter written by my great grandfather, like multiple generations removed. Old dude. He was in a covered wagon, on a covered wagon through Massachusetts. And he writes that all of a sudden it started getting dark. And then it got completely dark. And he was a preacher. And he said to his family, everyone come off the wagon, kneel down, pray right now. Pray right now for salvation. He said, be prepared to meet your maker and pray that we don't have to. They prayed, then it got bright again. The point is, she asked me, could he have witnessed an eclipse, total eclipse of the sun? So I checked my notes. There was, in fact, a total solar eclipse over Massachusetts. And that I was able to then tell her exactly what day and time he would have written this letter and said this. Wow. Okay, because eclipses are that. Yeah, well, they're that precise. They're badass in that way. There's a woman who found old letters in her attic.
That was good, bro. How you feeling?
At the end of an interview, there's always that moment where they say, do you have any questions for us? And what I've seen sitting on the other side of the table is people either ask a question they don't really have because they feel like they're supposed to, or they say, no, I don't have any questions. And it's just a missed opportunity. And so this one, I have to give credit to my co-founder. He came up with, and this is one of the things that I did not anticipate. I got the most positive responses. Like, I got the job because of this question type of a thing. The question is, okay, so let's say that this interview went really well and a year from now I got the job and you're looking back. What would I have had to have done in order for you to feel like it was a good decision? Like, what things will I have had to have done in that role? And so typically the person goes, I like that. That's a really good question. And it does a handful of things. One, you've gotten them to imagine the interview going really well and them hiring you, right? And then second, they're going to lay out for you exactly what you need to do in the role to excel. And that is something that every boss wants. It's like, I want you interested in knowing what I need from you in order to do a good job. At the end of an interview, there's always that moment when you think of breath, one slow, steady breath. And as you slowly follow your breath and you contract those intrinsic muscles, as you follow your breath and you bring that breath all the way up to that pineal gland, and you hold your breath and you keep your attention on that pineal gland, that's your target. The act of contracting those muscles, along with the holding of your breath, would begin to push cerebral spinal fluid right up into your brain. And as you begin to hold your breath, you're pushing that cerebral spinal fluid right up against the crystals of the pineal gland and applying a mechanical stress. And then the mechanical stress begins to electrically activate those crystals. And when those crystals become electrically activated, we are turning on the radio receiver in the brain. One slow, steady breath.
And when scientists and quantum physicists zoomed into reality as far as down as they can go, what they discovered was pixelation. The same pixelation you get on your computer screen or your TV if the image starts getting broken up. And they were like, holy crap. And they saw the largest image in the smallest piece. So they recognized that the universe was fractalized. And so they said, okay, let's analyze the nature of matter itself. And they began to realize that all matter is just light waves slow down to a particular frequency. And they said, holy crap. So they did this experiment called the double slit experiment. The act of observation, conscious intervention with matter changes it. So it means that collectively we are all creating this reality. The universe is a mind, a conscious mind. Zoom out from galaxies, you begin to realize the galaxies look like neurons inside of a human brain. This is how God actually is able to be everywhere at all times, because God inhabits every individual atom, which is transmitting back to source. What God is doing is living subjectively through each and every individual and each and every individual atom universally. When scientists and quantum physicists, who's a prettier shot? Everybody's gonna say yours, but like mine.
There's a problem. Earth rotates once in 23 hours and 56 minutes. How come our watches don't go 23 hours, 56 minutes? Because we don't care how long it takes Earth to rotate. How long does it take the sun to get back to the meridian? That's 24 hours. Where'd the extra 4 minutes go? The day that it took to rotate, Earth in its orbit, days worth of our orbit around. And the sun is not lined up where it used to. We have to turn a little extra to line the sun back up. Every one of these days, you have a little extra turn. That turn is 4 minutes. Here's the problem. There are times we're closer to the sun, that's in January, times we're farthest from the sun, in July. When we're closer to the sun, we're moving faster in our orbit. If we go faster in our orbit, it means we go farther in a day. On the other side, we don't go as far. We'd have to rotate less than 4 minutes. And let me tell you how bad it would get. The sun can get there 16 minutes early or arrive 16 minutes late. We got to average this out. What's another word for average? Mean. The Greenwich time zone is officially Greenwich Mean Time. There's a problem. Earth rotates once in 23 hours and 56 minutes. How come our watches don't go 23 hours, 56 minutes? Because we don't care how long it takes Earth to rotate. How long does it take the sun to get back to the meridian? That's 24 hours. Where'd the extra 4 minutes go? The day that it took to rotate, Earth in its orbit, days worth of our orbit around. And the sun,
He was right about everything.
China has no rules. 20 years ago, they had cows that produced human milk. 20 years ago, they had spiders that produced body armor, spider guts. Okay, they have human-animal hybrids. 30 years ago, they've got giant human tissue farms. You know, you hear, oh, your Achilles is torn. We've got a grown in a lab, a tendon. It's not a frickin' tendon grown in a lab. It's a frickin' deal, humanoid. These aren't humans. The way they get around it is they make it.
wait a minute.
They make us.
Wait a minute. We're saying so many things. Listen, I love you to death, but you say so
$1 million humanoids are real.
I believe they are. Wow. You say so many different things without stopping. It's hard
Because I'm
people
reporting to the government agency, so they'll listen and investigate. I'm decompartmentalized.
Okay, but
This will be studied for years.
so what? Vindicated? Yes. He was right about everything.
China has no rules. 20 years ago, they had cows that produced human milk. 20 years ago, they had spiders that produced body armor, spider guts. Okay, they have human-animal hybrids. 30 years ago, they've got giant human tissue farms. You know, you hear, oh, your Achilles is torn. We've got a grown.
When a rat steals human rice, humans call it cunning.
As above, so below. As within, so without. That's the law of correspondence. It's not Solomon's, David's, or whoever. As above, so below. Whatever is going on in your head is going on in your body.
Whatever's going on inside your body is going on outside in your light. That's the way it's immediately relevant. Then it gets to be whatever's going on in the heavens is going on the earth. Whatever's going on the inside of the heavens is going on the inside of you in your spiritual, astral, invisible body. It's a law of correspondence.
Are you sort of suggesting that you could affect the heavens?
That you're already affecting the heavens. The heaven you're affecting is on top of your head. That's the heaven you're affecting, for good or ill. That's right.
Join my free community if you want to learn how to optimize your health. The link's in the bio.
Have you ever heard of Simeon Toko?
Simeon Toko.
Allegedly, he was a black guy who showed up, I want to say, in about the 1950s.
He was from Angola.
Was he? Okay, go ahead. Keep talking.
And allegedly, he had the same abilities as Jesus.
And they tried to kill him?
They tried to kill him more than
Yes, I heard that. And they put his body inside of a box and burned it up and blew it up. And they separated him. Yeah, he cut his heart out too. He came back.
He reappeared in front of, I want to say, the UN or something.
It was on a plane. He reappeared. He said he's going to leave, but there's a lot more people on his planet just like him. He's going to come back.
Have you ever heard of Simeon Toko?
Simeon Toko.
You want to hear something really fascinating?
Sure.
There was a tiger that was in North India and was killing hundreds.
Ejaculating prematurely? You need.
What Einstein said was this: if you don't have anything out in space, that's a flat space. If you were to take a planet, a ball, whatever it is, a rocket ship, and roll it, it would make a straight line in that space-time. Watch it up on the screen. I roll it, and it makes a straight line. But according to Einstein, if you go and have a star, that star will bend space-time in that extra dimension that you can't see. See, you can't see it bent up over there, but you can see it here. In that bent space-time, if you roll the ball, see, now it looks like it's going around that planet. So according to Einstein, there is no connection between the star and the planet. What you have is the star bending the fabric of space. What Einstein said was this: if you don't have anything out in space, that's a flat space. If you were to take a planet, a ball, whatever it is, a rocket ship, and roll it, it would make a straight line in that space-time. Watch it up on the screen. I roll it, and it makes a straight line. But according to Einstein, if you go and have a star, that star will bend space-time in that you can't see. See, you can't see it bent up over there, but you can see it here. And that bent space-time, if you roll the ball, see, now it looks like it's going around and around that planet. So according to Einstein, there is no connection between the star and the planet. What you have is the star bending the fabric of space. What Einstein said was this: if you don't have anything out in space, and so is